Welcome back, Nuggets! Nice to see you again. If you're new here, I'm Lex, and I'm a game designer who's learning how to program by making a 3D bullet hell platformer in Unity. And we've come a long way since I started, and in the last devlog we finally changed the boring grey cubes into something presentable. And that's important because I might be working towards a demo I can pitch to some publishers. And I know you've read the title, so I know why you're here. You can't have a polished demo without some kick-ass sound effects. But before we pleasure our ears with that sweet, sweet sound, the past 2 weeks have been a roller coaster of changing and adding small things just to make the whole game as polished as possible. So before we dive into the sound, let's take a look at what I did. First off, I added a ton of new props and buildings. I made some power lines, some big electrical wires, a tent, a chair, and much more, all to dress the world little by little. Next to some small tweaks, changes, and improvements, for the Sunken City theme, the 3 new destroyed buildings are probably the biggest addition. They are also modular, so work in any configuration. Next, I reworked the destructible objects to nicely fade out using this cool dither shader I found on the web, and I must say, it's looking pretty sweet. While on the topic of destructibles, what's a game without destructible grass? Nothing, I tell you, nothing! Next, I added a simple outline shader to everything important, like pickups and what I am calling big tech, for which I also made some cool new models, where you as a player can salvage your main collectibles. Talking about collectibles, your goal as a player is to find a dozen of these big bolts, which you can salvage from these big machines. And so when you collect one, I thought I'd add a little animation. I then finally made it so you wouldn't just drop through the water, but actually die in it. I don't particularly like the effect yet or the animation, but that's just the way we roll. After dying, checkpoints were next on the list, as they have always been a simple square up till now. I first made this flag, but it really felt out of universe, and so I ended up with this quirky bouncing terminal that you have to activate yourself. Next to the checkpoints, I noticed I had little to no interactive elements in the scene, and I always like it when exploration is rewarded. And so I dusted off the dialogue system using ink and completely reworked the UI to make it look nice and shiny. Then I changed the HUD to be up to date with the game and added some polish at the same time. I reworked the hearts and the material counters and added this cool text overlay. While I was working on the UI anyway, I decided to do something that I really wanted to do but really dreaded. You know, I really want Wrench to be speedrunner friendly, and I noticed in games that I really like it to get simple tasks like kill all enemies or collect all pickups. That is why I combined them all into an end screen you get when you finish a stage. This was an absolute shit ton of work, and I am sort of happy with how it turned out. I would really like the portal to have some kick-ass effect, but this will have to do for now. Luckily, not all changes have been solely visually. I had received some feedback on the Discord I wholeheartedly agreed with. Combat felt a little stiff. Oh, and by the way, if you would like to join our Discord and chat after hours and help me solve problems, there's a link in the description below. And so I really tweaked up the animations, responsiveness, and feel of the combat, and I must say, I am pretty happy with it. While I was messing with Carly's code anyway, I right away implemented something that I have been putting off far too long, and that's the 3-hit air combo. Previously, people would just spam the air smash attack as it was too powerful and it became the strategy. But now it feels much more balanced, plus I couldn't have made floating enemies as you wouldn't be able to attack them. So, 2 birds with 1 stone, I guess. For now, I just recycled the old animations which I adjusted, but eventually they will become separate animations.
While I was at it, I also changed Carly's sword to be an actual Wrenchsword.
I also did a ton of tweaks to the level, but after that it was finally time to start adding sounds. Adding sounds is so much fun, and you'll notice that when you add sounds to your game, it right away brings the game to life. And as with everything on this channel and in this game, most of the sounds are placeholders or roughs, so, you know, it's a good start, but it will get better. Oh, and if you're wondering how I implemented most of the sounds, I simply followed this tutorial by Brekkies. I really like how he implemented the system, and I only made some small changes, like instead of adding all the sounds to one giant list, I split them up into separate sound libraries. If you want to know how he made his audio manager, I've put a link to the video in the description below.
Now, I can simply at any given time in my code call my audio manager and ask it to play a sound.
Pretty cool, huh? You know what's also pretty cool? Hitting that like button if you like this video, and hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already, because it really helps the channel out, and it also helps me make Wrench the best game possible. One of my absolute favorite things that I did was implement the different footstep sounds.
I started by adding animation events to Carly's animation whenever her foot hit the ground. This event can be used to call a function in any script on the game object with the animator.
And at that point you can do with it what you want. Since I already implemented in the code that Carly can detect on what kind of surface she's walking, it made it really easy to play different sounds depending on the different surfaces.
I then threw in some random variations to get a little more lively sounds.
To make the sounds I used a couple of different techniques, but mainly I downloaded them from freesounds.org. In all honesty though, there are a ton of great sound effects you can download for free from the web, but I don't shy away from mixing, combining and recording my own sounds to make new ones. And don't judge me, but I needed a voice for Carly, and so I put my oldest daughter to work. She did an amazing job, and I think she really enjoyed the process. And even though Carly is an adult and not a kid, I think the voice fits the aesthetic that I'm going for perfectly. So far, so good. The only thing that I don't have, as you've heard, is music. And that's mainly because I'm not really sure what type of music I want. Do I want screeching guitars, chill beats, or pumping electronics? I don't know. And another thing that makes it really difficult is the constant change in tempo. I have exploration bits and combat bits. I don't really know what type of music fits. If you have an idea, leave a comment down below and perhaps my problem will solve itself. Thanks for making it this far into the video. I have been thinking about doing more live streams, but honestly, it scares the crap out of me. So, if you would like to see me live stream the development of the second level theme, The Factory, hit that like button. And if we hit, let's say, over 500 likes, I will do a whole live streaming week where we can make it together. So, if that's something that you like, hit that like button. Anyway, that's all that I have for you today. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.
Dat hoor je? Je mag wel bij. Woehoe! En dan probeer geen woorden te zeggen, maar meer echt. Haha! Woo! Yeah! Ja, yeah mag misschien nog wel, I guess.